Example number 3, we're finding complex roots when we're doing the discriminant or using the quadratic formula from 1.6. So here our a equals 5, our b is 8, and you might want to pay attention here and to the last ones what your a, b, and c were to start to kind of know what type of solutions you might have. But that's also when we get to the discriminant in the next two examples. So a negative b, so that'd be negative 8, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 8 squared, minus 4 times your c, times your a, times your c, right, and then the whole thing is over 2 times your a. All right, so that's negative 8 plus or minus 64, 55 times 4, 244. Oh, it's a negative, right? Because a negative times a positive is going to be a negative 220 over 2a, which is 10. So that means negative 8 plus or minus the square root. 64 minus 220 is negative 156. Okay. All over 10. And now I have to deal with that square root of a negative, which is I square root the positive 156 all over 10. And now I can break down 156. 156 breaks down to 2 and 78. And then 78 breaks down to 2 and 49. Not 30, 35, 39. Okay, so I have a pair of 2's. So we have negative 8 plus or minus the square root, I square root. I is in between the plus and minus. And then I can factor out a pair of 2's. So 2i square root 39 all over 10. So again, here you could write it as two separate fractions. Negative 8 plus minus, or negative 8 over 10 plus minus 2 over 10 I square root 39. And then I can reduce my fractions. Negative 4 over 5 plus minus 1/5 I root 39. Okay, so you could write it like that. Or you could put it back. They're both over 5, right? So I could leave it as negative 4 plus or minus 1i square root 30, and then the whole thing is over 5 since these both are over 5. So either this one, and I could rewrite that too as negative 4/5 plus minus I square root 39 all over 5 like that. I could write it either one of those three ways. Okay? And that's reduced all the way. And so we see we have an I there because we had a square root of a negative 156. And here, if you look at our B and our C and our A, they're all positive, so that's why we got a negative here. And you notice that B squared was 64, and then 4 times A times C was a larger. And so that's example number 3.